Hey.
Hello.
How's everybody tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Oh, now I can't hear Stubbs.
No, we can't hear Stubbs.
Can't hear Stubbs at all.
Hey, it might be a blessing.
Welcome to the show anyway. Stubbs is trying to get some technical difficulties figured out.
You invited the blonde in. That's what did it.
We've been working on this for about 15 minutes, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's something on my end that's going screwy.
I can't hear you. Yeah, still there.
How bad is it?
Does anybody hear when Terry talks? Say something, Terry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Only one I hear is us three. You're fine.
So you can hear me?
I can hear you. I'm echoing, she says.
It's always fun trying to get a group together.
Right.
Hi, Lolly.
Anyway, we're here with Terry.
Thank you, Gloria.
Maker Chick.
Yay! Exciting.
Hey,
For
boy.
everybody that don't know, our friend, our dearly beloved Process. She is a good friend of Process.
I love Process.
How I got to meet Terry. We haven't met, but we're online. You guys understand. So Terry, why don't you use the mic and tell everybody about you.
Well, like I said before, that's a huge can of worms. I am 61 years old. I have a custom heritage softail. It's an 06 that was totaled in 07, and now it's really custom. I'm empty nest, traveling the world or trying to. Had a stroke in June, which was wonderful. Mild, thankfully, and I'm just trying to get back on my feet. So what else do you want to know? Throw me the questions.
I remember in the hospital. Sure.
Yeah.
What it was for.
It was so strange because no one could figure out what was going on. And it started off with these headaches, and then they thought it was something else. So they did imaging and found out that I have a dissected carotid artery that caused a mild stroke. Wonderful. So they medicated me up there, put me on baby aspirin. I'm supposed to get into the stroke clinic. Meanwhile, I haven't ridden my bike just in case. So it's been a little bit of a boring summer here.
I get it.
Yep. It sucks when you see your bike out there and it's just crying. It's calling your name.
And you're in Oregon.
I am. Unfortunately.
Oh, it's almost year-round.
Yeah.
Yep. So about digging through
Digging Through Dominoes is my podcast. And I have a playlist on my main station, and then I have a dedicated YouTube channel, and then I also have it's on every major podcast platform. And it's on mental health. It's on my journey to become whole, figure out what the heck was going on with me, look through my past, my childhood, the death of my son, the death of my grandson, and help other people on their journey. My feeling is if I had to have gone through all of this for something. And if I don't share, who could benefit? If somebody else could benefit, that would be really selfish for me to just, say, oh, no, I'm fine. Not a problem.
Understood.
So that's what that's about.
Okay.
Yep. And Process, he reached out to me several years ago and asked me to go do a video for him through the Goose Hollow area. And that was really kind of the beginning, I think, I launched Digging Through Dominoes on my 60th birthday. And it's been pretty successful. It's just this last 3 months, there's been a lag because of the stroke and because of everything else going on.
So kind of like a life coach thing.
Kind of life coach, but it's sometimes I'll go through different books like Healing from Hidden Abuse, books on narcissistic abuse. I tell my story. I have guests on that will tell their stories. So it can be all sorts of things. It's like with the hidden abuse. I didn't want to look at my therapist kept telling me, we need to look at your childhood. I'm like, perfect childhood. My dad was a corporate pilot, 2 brothers, upper middle class. Everything was great. No problems. Well, then boxes started opening and it's like, oh crap, I have to look at this. And that started it off. And I've always wanted to be able to give. Okay, so if I had to go the hard way, maybe somebody could hear something that I have to say or one of my guests has to say, and they don't have to knock their head up against a brick wall or see tons of red flags and think it's just a carnival. So that's kind of what it is.
How about you guys? Any questions for Terry?
I still didn't get you stuff.
Any question for Terry?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes it's better when you hear somebody else's problems. Yours don't seem as bad, and they try and help you through it. Do you get a lot of feedback from your people, in your comments and things that they're helping? You're helping them?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
I get almost daily, and it's I have a playlist about my son that I lost 2 years ago, and I get a lot of moms saying thank you for sharing this. And then on my journey, with my panic attacks and the abuse that I suffered and everything that had gone on, I get a lot of feedback from people saying, I can't believe you're talking about this. This is exactly my life. And I'm like, well, that's exactly why I'm talking about it. Stubbs, your microphone.
I'm muted. So I'm going to mute your mic when we ask questions. Therefore, there's no echo. So we'll get through this now. Tell us all about your YouTube show.
I started my YouTube channel way back when they said YouTube is going to be the next TV. And I'm like, right. So I used it mainly to record my grandkids and my kids and family stuff. And it's still on there. So there's a legacy. They can all look at it. And then I started recording my bike rides, rallies, things around Tattooed Biker Chick, a lot of vlogging, reviews. It was a way for me to interact and have a connection with community, because I've been isolated for a very long time. I mean, raising 8 kids, not working, having in the situation that I'm in, I had no social contact. So it's evolving. I feel like I'm letting everyone down because, like I said, this year has just sucked in writing or anything. So I need to get back on it. And you'll see a lot of my Karma, my GSD service dog. She's on there a lot.
That's what you name Karma?
Her name is Karma. Because Karma is a bitch. Although she's not. She's totally cool.
So how long have you been writing?
2005 on my own. 2005. Started out on an 883. Then I got 6 months later, I got my heritage. A year later, I was hit and couldn't walk for about 8 months.
Wow.
So my dad, he was on the phone. He's like, Terry, we need to make sure your bike is seen. And I'm sure you guys have seen my bike. My bike is seen. I will be on the other side of the country and people will say, you the Tattooed Biker Chick? It's like, shit. I need an incognito bike.
So I had that experience this last weekend. I was just telling you before that I went to the Stubborn American And to have other YouTubers or other people walk up to you and say, "Hey, you're unaffiliated," it was kind of interesting, kind of cool. Do you get that feeling when you get out there?
I do. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's unnerving, especially since I've had stalkers before. But generally, it's affiliated with my bike. I've only had one person that has come up to me and kind of creeped me out a little bit. It's like, "Are you Terry?" I'm like, "Yeah," because dude looked kind of sketchy. "Oh, I follow all of your Instagram accounts." Like, okay, nice to meet you. I'm glad we're in public.
Hey, Jamin, Shadow, you got anything for Terry?
Not right now. I'm still trying to figure out this feedback.
We got it figured out. Ask her questions. I'll mute her, and then I'll let her talk.
Jamin, you go.
Well, your service dog, Karma. How old is she?
She's 7. 7 years old.
Have you had her since she was a pup?
Yes. She's been trained specifically for me. And then I took over the training. And she is just, I've always loved animals, but I never could understand this huge bond that a lot of people would have with their dogs. And I got Karma, and she's the love of my life. She has healed so much of what has happened with me, with that unconditional love and always being there and protecting me. As a matter of fact, the last seizure I had, I was getting ready to take the kids to Disneyland. They're adults, and it's like, oh, that'd be fun with the kids. Let's go to Disneyland. Never been where I hadn't had to herd cats. So I was coming out of the vet, walking across the Starbucks, and the next thing I remember is thinking I've broken my face, and my dog is standing over me, and she's watching people. They turn me over, and she is watching everyone. She won't get off of me, and I just blacked out. And I'm seeing all these faces, and she helped me get back actually to the vet, and they let me sit there until somebody could come pick me up. So she's tuned in on a lot of things, which is really cool.
It's amazing to me what animals can do. I've been going through a separation/divorce. Not really sure where that's going yet, but mentally, physically, and I've got 2 pit bulls. And they're both rescues, and they've both been there for me. I don't know what I'd be doing without them. So,
Right.
Yeah. That's like with Karma. And I just, if I'm gone and I'm away from her, I've got a FaceTime her. When I was in Greece for my birthday this last May, I'm FaceTiming my dogs or my dog, and my kids are like, Mom, do we count? So, yeah.
You see, Ray's got a question. Do you travel to rallies?
Yes, I do. One of my favorite rallies that I live or die, rain or shine, I made every year except for a couple, Street Vibes in Reno. I prefer long rides instead of just riding around town. I prefer packing up the bike and going for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I didn't go to Street Vibes this year, basically because I just wasn't, I'm not sure yet of my ability to not stroke out or something. And so I put that off, and I've heard really bad things. Everyone I've spoken to says that they're not going to be going back. But I love riding with rallies. I don't like riding with big groups that I don't know. Rallies, yeah. I worked in my smoke alarm. Great. Pendleton Bike Week and Hell's Canyon. I was ambassador for both of those. Tattoo judge, go figure. And that was cool.
So who's cooking and burning down the house?
Sorry, guys. Have you ever been to Sturgis?
I have not. Truthfully, I want to go to Sturgis when there's no one there.
Okay, well, guess what? We have a plan. The unaffiliated next year is going from July 28th to August 4th. Sturgis actually starts August 2nd. So we're going to be there the whole week prior. We have a hotel. We're staying in Custer. I can give you all the information. It only cost us $400 for the whole 7 days. And that Wednesday is my birthday. So we're going to have a birthday party for Stubbs in Sturgis.
Oh my gosh. How perfect.
And you and your everybody invite him. Come on.
Okay.
Get Jesse to come.
Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be great.
That would be so much fun. Yeah, send me the info on that because
I will.
I have been in too many close calls with poker runs from different clubs around here. And if you don't know people really well, or if I don't, I have a hard time riding with them because a lot of the guys like to try and freak me out because I'm just a girl on a bike and they can't handle that. And that's not cool. That's not what a biker does. Not at all.
Don't get me started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So there. I noticed there was the Instagram. Talked about the dominoes one. There's home.
I have my Terry Anderson Tattooed Biker Chick Instagram. And then I have one called Falcon Girl Productions that is more of a lifestyle and my photography. I'm also a photographer, so I do that as well. And then the Digging Through Dominoes is my mental health channel.
So how do you go about picking guests for your YouTube show?
It mainly if they want to come on. The last few I've had I did a town hall on Portland's absolutely insane treatment of the homeless. I was on a town hall. I took my son, who is behind, you can't see him. He's in the urn back there. I took him with me because, in my opinion, my son died at the hands of Portland. And I did a town hall and I met a lot of people. So they've come on to share their mental health perspectives, the homeless problem here in Portland. People that I follow, people that I talk to that want to talk about mental health. What gets really frustrating sometimes is when people will book with me and then 4 hours before bail. I understand speaking about mental health can be really scary, but it's also kind of it stopped me this summer from really putting out as much as I wanted to, because it's like, okay, if I'm going to have people bail on me every week, I can't do this. It was starting to take a hit on me. So, but at the same time, I understand it's scary to get up there and tell people your story because there is such a stigma, but my gosh, who around us doesn't have a problem with something? It's actually, it's liberating for me to talk about it, but that's how I do it. And if anybody wants to come on, it's like, come on, let's talk. If you have a short story to share, mental health or not, come on, it's open. Yes, there is Florence, very much so.
Flossie is our lady from the UK. She has been a subscriber and a love of the unaffiliated since we were actually the independent writers. Long story. We've changed names since. But yeah, we love Floss. She always gives us the UK's perspective on things. Hellfighter Steve. He's our preacher. Man. So anyone else have any questions?
That's part of the problem. they took away the mental hospitals and the help people need. That's why things like what Terry does is good for people. I think she helps quite a few people, to be honest with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had a crusade going on to save my son. He was adopted at birth. His birth mother had not manifested her mental illnesses yet. She was just 15 years old. 7 years old, he was diagnosed with autism, which is an animal of its own. And as he got older, he started exhibiting signs of bipolar disorder and paranoid schizophrenia. He made the decision when the police removed him from our house at one point, and he didn't want to come home. He was 18. There was nothing I could do about it. So I kept working and trying to get a psych eval for him. Nobody would do it because they would say, we don't want to take his rights away. Okay, this kid is having me scan you with an imaginary app on my phone. He's saying he's going to kill someone. He's making no sense. He's talking to people around him that you can't see, but you don't want to take his rights away? So you, Dr. So-and-so, you're going to call the family of whomever he hurts to tell them you didn't want to take the murderer away of the rights away from whoever killed their child or hurt their child. And Portland they don't want to focus on mental health. They want to focus on substance abuse. Okay, great. Substance abuse. If there's substance abuse, there's a mental health issue. Trauma, abuse, mental illness. There's something at the bottom.
I was going to ask if there was substance abuse with your son causing all these issues.
No. He was on the street for almost 10 years. I got back all of I put in for all of his papers, all of his medical records after he died. It took about a year for 9,000 pages to come to me. He was drug-free except for THC for 5 years. Then he started doing meth. Someone had told him if he did meth, his stuff wouldn't get stolen. So Joshua started doing meth. And then in the last year of his life, he started testing positive for gabapentin, which he had scoliosis, so that was prescribed for him.
Mm-hmm.
But his tox screen, I really felt there was going to be fentanyl in it because, Portland has decriminalized personal use of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't any fentanyl. But on the town hall, there was a proponent of this Measure 110 to decriminalize personal use. And he was real smug. And he said, we're not decriminalizing the dealers. It's just for personal use. And I'm like, okay, I know my son's tox report. So I pulled my son up. No one knew what was in the velvet bag that this woman was carrying. And I pulled it down and I said, Anthony, this is my son. Everything found in his system was for personal use. That boy hightailed it out after the town hall. He was gone. It's scary. And my belief, as well as a lot of the homeless advocates that I've worked with, is that Joshua, it was intentional. It was in front of Salvation Army under cameras. Joshua never slept on the streets there. He always slept with someone in a tent, in a shelter. And they have CCTV showing him getting under a blanket October the 5th, 7:30 in the evening. 5 minutes later, there was no more movement. And on the 7th, 40 hours after he died, they finally called in after walking over him several times for a welfare check.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And when I got his paperwork back, it was heartbreaking because the amount of times he said, I can't have my mom worrying about me anymore, was heartbreaking.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
I have a daughter who is in Utah State Prison right now for doing drugs, heroin and meth. She's apparently is doing really well in the programs. that they offer. Thank God. I think she's going to be actually getting out in January. So I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's it's tough. It's tough. And I tell you, dealing with the homeless, when I first started going down to, I learned so much with Joshua. He's got to have shoes. He's got to have his cell phone in case he calls me. He wanted his guitar. He had a Fender. He had all of these things he wanted. I didn't know the ropes at that time, so I would give them to him. He would be beaten every time. I never gave him money. I started to where I would not give him clothing. I would take him to eat. And the homeless, when I first started looking for Joshua, they wouldn't tell me where he was. There's this hierarchy, their own community. And it took me a while, several months, maybe almost a year, to break through that. So they knew I wasn't there to kidnap him or hurt him or, fly him away to another state. And then they ended up protecting me. There was only one time I was downtown that I was attacked. And that was June of 2021, his last birthday. And this guy from out of town that was on meth came at me and attacked me with a knife. I had 5 dozen cupcakes for Joshua. And the homeless came out of everywhere. Don't F with her. That's Joshua's mom. F you. I mean, they're just going off. And I hear all this punching and screaming, and then they're dragging something away. And then I said, I'm like, I'm going to get out of here. So I'm walking down a few blocks, and I hear, Terry, don't go past that corner. So they're awesome. It's just that they want to be seen. And there's so many mental issues that nobody wants to address.
Yep.
It's hard to find out where to start is the problem. I mean, that's because the people that are in that situation, they don't want the help. They're fine, according to them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
There were times, and even when Joshua did want help, they wouldn't give him a psych eval. I was like, Joshua, you can get on SSI if you go through and have a full psych eval. And I kept being told they weren't going to give him a psych eval. Well, they had given him psych evals. They had him diagnosed, I saw. They didn't let me know that. He could have been on SSI. He kept saying, I want to be on SSI because I want to help my mom make her house payment, which is totally his autism talking there. It was unrealistic. That money was his. It would have gone to, an account to take care of him. But he asked for help, but then there are times he wouldn't want help. They don't know enough. Joshua was functioning at the level of a 13-year-old. A 13-year-old, what are they going to do? They're like, heck no, you're not helping me. I know what I'm doing. So you're right. They don't want help. And unfortunately, I think some of it needs to be mandated.
Bossy says, I think homelessness should be really tackled.
Yes.
And it's a problem. The whole world has homeless problem.
I'd be curious to see or hear about the homeless issues they have in the UK.
That would be interesting.
Maybe we could get Johnson behind that. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's a hard road. Yeah, I understand what you mean there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know you've had a bad year, haven't been able to ride, which sucks. I apologize for that. But looking forward to the future, because you can't dwell on the past. You have to look forward. The Sturgis thing, seriously, you should think about it. But other than that, where do you have plans to go?
Well, on my bike, I had planned in 2021, I had a 16,000 mile around the country trip planned. And COVID just kind of shut that down. I was actually going to stay at Adam's place in Oklahoma.
That's where I was.
Was one of my stops. And that got shut down. And then some other things happened. But on my bike, I want to ride to Napa. I want to ride down to San Diego. I want to go up into Canada. I want to just ride, just pack up and go and do like my parents used to do. Pick a direction and just ride.
Well, if you come to Utah, we can do southern Utah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can keep up with my victory or not.
Probably not. Victories are good bikes.
Yep, you heard it. Y'all. Get that.
Good night.
Yes, you chose a good bike.
I get irrational shit.
We have a bad vet problem being homeless too.
Very much so. Very much so. My uncle was not homeless. He was, I believe he was a medevac pilot in Nam, and he came home, and my aunt was telling me of his nightmares and things that were going on and things that he wouldn't even tell her. They went over there to fight, and then they come home and are treated like garbage. Problem here.
I have a story about my brother who was in. He's my oldest. Well, they're half brothers, but he was my oldest half brother. And when that movie Platoon came out, I actually took him to see that movie. He didn't say a word in the theater. When we came out of the theater, his face was white as a ghost. And I asked him if he was okay, and he looked at me and said, "Little brother, I just don't want to talk about it."
Yeah.
That affected me.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I joined the Navy and went to Desert Storm, because he can do that. I figured, maybe I need to do something too. So yeah, I get it.
I just don't understand the people that are putting their lives on the line for our freedoms are treated like garbage. And then there are people that will say, well, I don't vote because it's not going to fix anything. Do you know how disrespectful you're being to the people that died for our right to vote? If for nothing else, vote for those lives that were lost for freedom.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that if you're going to vote, it doesn't start about just the president. The top, who cares? You need to vote locally. That's where it starts.
You have to start in your city, local.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
School board.
Exactly. And real quick, I don't know if James, I think he's my cousin. If he's out there, I want to say hello, James. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you.
Yeah, James. We're not sure if you're in or not, but if you are, great. Please subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What else?
Yeah, I haven't seen James comments, or I was gonna, give him that shout out.
Charity's the best way to help.
Local charity's the best way to help. Yes.
We've had that discussion.
No vote, no voice. I hear that. If you don't vote, you're right. Yeah.
Yes. That is a fight in this house with someone that will not be named that likes to talk smack all the time. It's like, you didn't vote. Don't want to hear it. Sorry.
Okay, so let's talk. You are called the tattooed biker chick. So let's start talking about your tattoos.
Okay.
What do you got? Where you got them?
In what order?
You tell us.
I started out with a hummingbird on my hip when I was 23. Over the years, it turned into a pterodactyl. So I had that covered. And then I started tattooing. I ran across a guy called the Tattooed Shrink. And I am a firm believer that tattoos for a lot of people, they're therapy. And it's funny, I would go into one of my artists. I have 3 artists. I would go into one of my artists. It's like, Jason, I need therapy. So this one started out as just like a cap on my shoulder. and then live, love, laugh, and dream. And then I had it filled in, and then I did the other arm, but they were all therapy. Then I have a beautiful portrait of my granddaughter on my right thigh. She's dressed as Audrey Hepburn at Breakfast at Tiffany's, just perfect likeness by one of the best tattoo artists in the country, Dominic McIntosh. And I thought, if I'm giving prime real estate away for my granddaughter, my other grandkids are going to be a bit pissed. So now I'm working on a leg sleeve that's the grandchild birth month flower garden. I didn't want a lot of little heads all over my body. And then I have a sternum piece. I don't know if you see my back. I don't even know what side it's on. No, I have a 3/4 back piece, cherry blossoms. And what else? I don't know. It's a mural.
Do you have a tattoo addiction?
Tattoos are addicting.
Yeah.
They're addicting. I think they're especially addicting for someone that has trauma. I noticed before I had my sleeves and everything, I didn't know where this came from. I didn't understand it. Even though I had a lot of foster kids that were doing this, I didn't understand it for myself. I was in my mid-40s and I started cutting. And I didn't know what was going on. It's like, what is this? And then I got this piece here so I wouldn't want to destroy it. And that's when I sort of realized, okay, the tattoo is releasing these endorphins. And I think it's totally, I remember a day I tell my girls, no tattoos on your arms. None. I hit 50 and it's like, boom, tattooed.
So when you're doing the sleeve, I mean, you have an idea of kind of what you want, but you just let the tattooist go for it and flow it?
My sleeves, I let Jason have full reign. And he just worked across, I had this cap on my shoulder, which is hard to see. It's all blended in. And so Jason did my sleeves, gave him full reign with everything. I think this one right here was when I broke. I had a stage when I completely dissociated, and I had this done. It's Wild Hearts Can't Be Tamed. And then I just let him flow with everything. And with my other artist, with the leg garden, I told him the flowers, and he's just putting them the way he sees fit.
That, my dear, is trust.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. But top 5 tattoo artists in the country, I would trust Dominic with anything. And they know more about people will go in, and this is a big misconception a lot of times, or they don't think through it. I guess is what I mean. They have a picture of something in their mind that they want. Well, they're not taking into account body shape, where it's going to be, what muscle's going to be there, how it's going to move, or how it's going to lay. It's just not a 2D image. It's going to move and it's going to look different. And you've got to trust your artist to be able to say, hey, that's going to look like crap there. You can do this, you can do that, and then there are artists that you go in and you can get flash all day long. And those are the ones that I think they're just doing it, have an income stream. They really don't care about their art. And I would prefer someone, even if it's going to cost a lot more money, that's going to care about their art, because I'm wearing it for the rest of my life. I will be the one in the nursing home where everyone else is like, what the heck was she like?
What's up, Dallas?
I'd like to party with her.
Slip a little tequila in that IV.
So she drinks tequila, eh?
I drink tequila really more limited. My main, I'll go with aviation gin. I'll do rum. I don't like wine. I don't like beer. Give me the hard stuff. My dad lives.
How about let's see, your health? We've heard you had the stroke. Is any prognosis? What's going on with that?
I am waiting to get into the stroke clinic, which is taking forever. I feel like I'm in Canada. It's just nuts. It's like, this is a serious issue. So something that a lot of people, this is going to be the first time I've spoken about it on air. The dissection I have in my carotid artery was caused by strangulation. It was caused by abuse. And to the best of what I understand, when the stress started ramping up with certain things that were going on around here, the blood flow it was harder to get through those, like that bypass in my artery, and it caused I was losing blood to my brain. So yeah, never drank tequila. I don't like the worm. It doesn't all have worms.
Worm gets you drunk faster.
There you go. It sounds like at least they saw that and they have something that they're going to fix.
Yes, if I can get in there. It was, no one took me seriously. I have migraines and I had this headache that just was not normal. And I went in and they thought I had something called temporal arteritis, which is right here in your temple. And it's also called giant cell arteritis. And I guess it's deadly. So they got me into the ED. And at first they did an MRI, couldn't see anything. Then they did a CT. It wasn't until they did Doppler on my neck and up through my head that they could see that there were dissections, not only in my carotid artery, but also in this side of my head where I've had trauma. And thank God that they've seen it, because I could have just completely stroked out. And I don't want, if I'm going to stroke, I want it to go all the way, because I don't want to live that way. Right. So I don't know. It was pretty scary. It was pretty scary. But the things that I have survived, this is nothing in comparison. And I shouldn't think that way, because it's a very real possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Scary.
Pretty scary.
Yeah. Well, on a good note, we're up on like 45 minutes. Sometimes we like to just do a 45-minute show, because an hour kind of drags. It's YouTube. Do want to tell you that we appreciate you coming on. I've been looking forward to this and actually meeting you and talking with you. You had mentioned when you were in the hospital to me that if you come on to our show, then I must come on to yours. I remember that.
I would love for you to come on. I can send you a scheduling link, and you can schedule whenever you want. It's on a rolling calendar.
Sure. I'd be more than happy.
I would love it.
Okay. I can't believe you're 61. First and foremost, you don't look any. You look like you're 45 still.
You don't look it.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Seriously.
I'll take that. It's that Korean skincare.
That's right. Well, you just made. I'm gonna mute you. You just made 3, maybe more. Our audience are friends too, but 3 friends here. So we got Ohio, we have Minnesota, and we have Utah. So if you're ever in those areas, reach out. You got a place to stay, place to hang out, someone to ride with.
And I've been watching you for a while. I didn't realize that you were digging in the dominoes.
I am digging into dominoes. And it's so funny. I was trying to think of, what do I call this show? And I remember sitting on my great grandfather's lap when I was a kid, watching the old men put out dominoes in these just shapes, and they would get really frustrated, and they're drawing a new tiles. And I thought, what better name? Because someone else has already laid out my beginning hand. I've got to dig through what that beginning hand is and start dealing my own or pulling my own dominoes to change the future.
Well, I'm gonna give you a saying that's probably old school. You might remember it. You've come a long way, baby.
I have. And that's one thing I could recognize. I didn't used to be able to recognize it, and I really have.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Absolutely.
Reach out if you ever want to come back on and talk more about what you're doing, how things are going. You have a home here. Thank you for coming on, and everybody else that joined. Much love. I didn't get a chance because of our audio issues to really engage with you guys tonight, but I appreciate the love as usual. We couldn't do it without you guys. You guys love and support us, so that's why we do this, man, to have fun and to meet beautiful people like Terry here. So with that, rubber side down.
Thank you, Florence.
Peace out.
Be safe.
Thanks, guys.